He must remain himself, be humble, and listen, said Diomaye Faye, a teacher of political sciences who claims to have worked with the legendary Pan-Africanist Thomas Sankara. As journalists flooded the small town of Ndiaganiao in central Senegal, the old man was quick to share his thoughts. But the newsmen weren't here for him. His nephew, with whom he shared the same name, was now president of Senegal. 2 weeks before the 2024 elections, the young Diomaye Faye was in jail. Now he is riding the crest of a wave of popular anti-establishment feeling. But where does he come from? What has he promised? And what will he deliver? The hotly contested 2024 elections saw the former tax inspector Bassirou Diomaye Faye face off against the experienced politician Amadou Ba. Behind these two men were two long-standing enemies, both barred from running. In fact, this election was a choice for Senegal to maintain or reject the current political order. In a fantastic outpouring of support, Faye won, establishing the outsider as president. Faye's childhood friends remember him as serious and ambitious. He learned several martial arts before leaving for university. After completing a master's in law, he entered the National Institute of Administration, eventually graduating to become a tax inspector. Whilst working in the civil service, he met fellow graduate Ousmane Sonko, and the two became friends. Sonko later lost his job after uncovering an alleged tax avoidance scheme being used by members of the political establishment. As Sonko turned to political protest, he quickly became a thorn in the side of Senegal's long-term president Macky Sall. Diomaye Faye looked on from the margins as his friend tried to weather multiple accusations and arrests, eventually being convicted of corrupting the youth. Obtaining criminal conviction of opposition leaders has become a common tactic in Senegalese politics, and Sonko was now barred from running in elections. Economic problems and disquiet over treatment of the opposition led to bubbling resentment. When Macky Sall's allies suggested the president might change the constitution to allow him to run a third term, protests broke out across Senegal. Attempts to delay the election were seen as a constitutional coup. The bad feeling against establishment politics was at a fever pitch, but it had nowhere to go. Sonko was unable to run. At this moment, Diomaye Faye stepped forward. In fact, Faye had been involved with Sonko's party for a long time, helping to plan campaigns from behind the scenes and even heading a coalition. He announced his candidacy from prison, whilst detained on charges of inciting insurrection. He was never convicted. Sonko quickly endorsed his friend, calling him "my little brother." After a whirlwind 10-day electoral campaign, the nation went to the polls to vote. Faye ran under the slogan "Diomaye is Ousmane," promising to tackle corruption, create jobs, and reposition Senegal on the world stage. His Pan-African anti-system stance is defined by policies which propose to gradually introduce a Senegalese currency. At present, Senegal uses the CFA, which is partially backed by France. He has also proposed a reform of ECOWAS, the economic union in West Africa. Through this reform, he wants to draw in the ASS countries, Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali. In a country traumatized by an attempted constitutional coup, Faye has promised to create more accountability, in part by creating an independent judiciary. Diomaye Faye is married to 2 wives, one Christian, the other Muslim. He appears to be the perfect candidate to unite Senegal in peaceful rejection of the established political order. But whether Faye remains true to his promises remains to be seen. Africa's youngest president is a bright spark on the continent, but to make a difference, he will have to stay aflame. If you enjoyed this content and would like more, please subscribe to The Africa Review on YouTube.